This question is about Nolini-da's article regarding the future of the ashram, where there is a talk titled "On the Brink." You'll find it in Nolini-da's works, where he has spoken about. I think it is in the 80s or 84. He left the body, so must be either 80 or just after the mother's passing, little after that. So this is important. So he felt that we have not lived up to the way humanity should have responded. And therefore, it's quite likely that mother who built her own body, which the ashram is, she is destroying it like Chinnamasta. This one example he gave. So like Chinnamasta, story of Chinnamasta. Chinnamasta is a interesting goddess who, if you see her, she is cut off her own head and she is put it on her side. Now this picture may look grotesque, but she is among the Dash Mahavidya goddesses. It's a beautiful symbol because below her is a couple who are engaged in, like physical for bringing a child. Now this I find, very interesting. So he said that she is destroying her own old body, meaning thereby there were things she had built like a scaffolding for the new creation. Now the scaffolding is no more needed. Now there are different people who have interpreted it in different ways. One of them, of course, he mentioned also about like Yadukul, and he also spoke about the Devasur Sangram, and he says that, well, it's difficult to say, now they are intermixed, who is really a Deva and who is really an Asura. So he speaks of that. But he also says all this is a cleansing process. So if you look at Chinnamasta, the new creation which is preparing itself from below, Chinnamasta symbol is very difficult to understand. Like it's a tantric symbol. So people say it's a grotesque image. Imagine, cutting your head and holding it, and below is a couple who is literally actually copulating couple. It's very difficult. But so, of course, here there is the Purusha and Prakriti who are joining for a new creation. But for that, the old must go. So she herself is destroying. See, head is the hub of consciousness. So she is destroying her old body so that the new creation can come. So in that article he speaks about it. That the old way of life, though he emphasizes a lot more on the destruction part, that we didn't live up to that thing. And that I understand is partly because if you see those later time writings, both of Nolini-da, Amalda, they are all great people. But if you see, they were brought up by the mother by the hand. So the mother's physical withdrawal was very difficult for them to understand and reconcile with. I met even Hutadi, she would say in our time when mother was there. Now I don't know how many, but I have shared this, that we never felt like that. I don't know, many of us who have not physically met the mother, we never felt when mother was there because it's non-existent. For us, she's so real. So it used to sound very jarring. But for them, it was, you can imagine, for Champaklalji when Sri Aurobindo is physically withdrawn. Many of them couldn't bear it. Even Sri Aurobindo's physical withdrawal, Moni, Anil Baran, they all went away. So something similar here, that when she is she knows she is withdrawing. That the mother knew 6 months before. That's a different story. I have spoken about it elsewhere. But now the ashram has to reinvent and readapt itself to the new challenges. So there are some people, even yesterday I got a letter was saying some of these old people who used to go, they say, oh, it was so nice. Even I have met people, oh, it used to be so nice and everything was, of course, life has changed, life has evolved. So, but the beauty is that, yes, life has changed. It has become different. Whether it's good or bad is up to us. But it means now when you take more complexities and more challenges of creation, you end up with a much more perfect realization. So, it is being reoriented and rebuilt. Now that, what is being rebuilt, only the Divine Mother would know. But some take it as a prophecy of destruction. I don't believe in that. And even Nolini-da said once that, as long as there is one person with faith, the ashram will continue to keep its role. Shobindo always spoke about the central influence. He didn't speak so much about physical presence. He said physical presence is necessary only when the yoga enters into the stages of physical transformation. And it's understandable because you need the body which is undertaking all these challenges and resolving in the body. That's why. Otherwise, he didn't say that anything is dependent on the physical presence. And then the Samadhi, mother spoke about it. So basically, for them, it was like a shock. But I don't believe that it is like on the brink is a doomsday prophecy. On the contrary, it simply means that many scaffoldings, probably what it means practically is that many departments, they will either go away or they'll become separate semi-autonomous entities. Like they were there earlier, something like that. And there will be few places which will remain. Of course, the main Samadhi in the rooms, the school which always has grown up together with the ashram, prayers, sabda. These are places which are bound to remain. But many places will become like semi-autonomous places. But it will adapt to the new challenges. That's all that it means. That it will be new, created and recreated. That's all that the article means. And it also is an invitation that Mother has also said. Mother said at one place that, this is in the 60s and it's there in a collected works. That she didn't want humanity to go through blows. So she gave everything. She says that when I was young, lot of people told me that they cannot follow the yoga because their life is riddled with many challenges. Roti, kapda, makan, this, that. So she used to have her wish list was, I won't use the word aspiration for the divine. Wish list was that if I get an opportunity, I'll create a space where people can live without need of all this money and food and all this. So she created a space. She says that I got these opportunities around the time when people call as the midlife. And she created this space. She says, but my experience is that this is not true. People say that they cannot practice yoga because they are busy they don't have time. She says it's not true. She says that because there is freedom, people become licentious. Because, everything is provided, they become lazy. Food is there is no that way effort. So she says later on that it means humanity is not ready, it will need some blows. So all that it means is that, the way humanity should have responded, that is well known. Mother gave this statement when Sri Aurobindo physically withdrew. Humanity is always lacking in its response to the divine. But the beauty of this yoga is, the Mother and Sri Aurobindo knew this very well. So they ensured that the future is independent of human intervention. If human collaborate, beautiful. But it is independent. Because right even then, before the supramental manifestation, Sri Aurobindo writes in a letter, this much is certain that the earth will be saved. Whether humanity is able to take that or not, it's a different thing. Whether it will go through the crashing circumstances or beautifully open, that is the thing which is hanging. Whether it will choose the truth or the abyss, that's a choice. But earth will be saved, that means no such mass destruction, whatever we may imagine. And also it means, when they use the word humanity, larger sections of humanity, that there will always be people who will embody the new aspiration and break through into the supramental world. And a large part of humanity will collapse. That's what they have said, prophesied actually. Not prophesied, because they have seen the future. So Mother says that there will be a small section of humanity and they will be scattered everywhere. And they are the ones who will be lifted up and integrated with the new creation. There will be another section which will be like a higher humanity. That is the kind of work sometimes I feel is happening in Auroville. Because, in Auroville, the Mother said it's the cradle of the Superman. So cradle is what? Cradle is Palana. It's not Superman, it's the cradle. Higher humanity, which is getting ready for the supermanhood. And then, she says there will be third layer of humanity, which is like an animal. Plenty you will see. that will collapse into the animal world. Its consciousness will get into the animal world. And there is another which is a distorted, perverted humanity, which is like an abortive attempt at being human. Nature tried to give birth to man, humanity, but it ended up giving birth to Rakshasa, which never evolved. So she says that will be destroyed. So this larger truth you will see everywhere. Because whatever is happening within the ashram, that's another article of Nolini-da, the ashram, India, and the world. Whatever is happening here, you will see it reflected in India. And whatever is happening in India, you will see it reflected in the world. You can reverse it also. All the problems of the world are reflected in India because India only can solve it perfectly. And all the problems of India are reflected within the ashram. Because here you have the ultimate remedy. So, meaning thereby each of us are a representative of a difficulty and a possibility. Earlier, Mother had used the word impossibility. So, we all can study our nature. Each one has his own challenges. We are too busy pointing difficulty of somebody else. But each of us has a difficulty and a possibility. So, if we take up the challenge that this is the difficulty given to me, my cross, or as she says, the anti-divine in each one of us, that which opposes the divine. And if we can change it, which is a long process, only grace can change it. But if we keep offering, keep persisting with faith, perseverance, the day it is solved in one human being here, it has a cascading effect on the world. So yes, Nolini-da spoke about On the Brink and many other essays which one can read like a pessimistic thought, but they are not pessimistic. He is simply describing a process. There is a touch of pessimism which is understandable, not pessimism, but they physically beheld her. So they must have gone through it. Even the great sages and seers, divine's physical absence suddenly they were so used to her physical body. And that's why we understand why the mother was progressively withdrawing. One of the reasons was this. And she says, so that children learn to connect with me inside. She has said, my love and consciousness is there. I suppose they don't need my physical intervention. All these are there. She insisted on inner nearness because she knew that my children are becoming so dependent that they cannot function and operate. So she allowed them the freedom, which of course led to all kinds of chaos. But then that's how divine works. He can handle chaos because from the primal chaos he has brought out this wonderful, charming, delightful and dangerous creation. So this is nothing. And one example, in the closing I may say, is Auroville. I think people write all kinds of books. Recently there was the Utopia That Never Was and things like, what kind of nonsense, If you go into history of Auroville is supposed to represent world unity. How did it start? Murderous instincts. I know of people, I won't use the names. Personally, I know them, who were fighting like this that they would, if they get angry, they will kill them. And they have all confessed, opposite parties. All elderly, some of them have passed away, some are still alive. That was the state. Why? Because right from beginning, all the darkness, he said, let's start from there. That's how divine begins, this creation. Big bang, that one light scattered into billions of stars. What a chaotic situation. Then the divine would have said, wait, I'll weave a necklace for my unseen body. That's for later. So same thing happened in Auroville. Started with murderous instincts. And slowly, and that's why she insisted on Matri Mandir. And today, all these people talk, who are newcomers who have not read the history, who talk about, this problem, that problem. It's nothing if you go back 50 years back. This is nothing actually. So it becomes milder, subtler, slowly it gets resolved. That is the way of the divine. And so again we come back to us, just as for Auroville, the soul is Matri Mandir. If you miss out on the mother, you try your mental methods, it won't work. For the ashram, the soul is the divine mother. If you think by your own, sometimes people say funny things. One of them said, no, no, it's all inside. Divine Mother is inside. I asked them, who told you this? I said, somebody told you from outside, no? You read a book or you came. I said, just because you have heard this cliche, even if supposing you have genuinely discovered, did suddenly one day you had a revelation that Divine Mother is inside me and you had a vision? No. It starts like that. People who don't understand the need of different stages. So you see, ashrams, even when you discover the Divine Mother inside, it still has such a role, not only as the initiating point. For many of us, it is an initiating point, either the writings which have come through the ashram or coming here. And after knowing her inside, what a joy now to bow down at the physical body so the body can participate. So here again, the soul is the Divine Mother. If we keep orienting ourselves to the Divine Mother, everything will get resolved. And again, in the end, for the individual life, for the national life, long back Sri Aurobindo said, worship the Mother. Individual life, any amount of problems, and I can say this with hard experience. Any amount of problem which will seem like insolvable. What is the English? Unsolvable. Insoluble. No, not solvable. Unsolvable. Literally. You keep turning to her. She is the key. She is the mystery the night conceals. Her hands alone can change time's dragon base. She is the mystery the night conceals. The spirit's alchemist energy is hers. So worship the Mother individually. In the ashram context, in India, in Auroville, worship is not just an external worship. Worship with the heart, nerve, body, mind, soul, everything. Laying everything at her feet. And see, everything will become wonderful.